Okay, so there's something that has been brought to my attention that I just can't shake. Uh, a lot of people, as humans, we fear what we don't know. We fear the unknown, right? Because of that, we usually that means we are the cause of our stress and anxiety almost all times, most times. Like 99% of the time, you're living in hyper stress states because of this factor that we cannot accept, that life is supposed to be unknown. The only thing that we should know is ourselves. Know that we're still here. Know that we are life itself. How we're going to get to our achievements, how we're going to get to our destination, what we're going to be doing, that comes from doing. And doing doesn't mean planning. Doing literally is just you're doing something. You're taking action. You're not supposed to know how things are going to unfold. And the only way you can know is by doing it. You see, a lot of people, as a result of this hyperfixation on wanting to know things, is what causes grief before anything has ever happened. I'll see a lot of people grieve before they have the chance to live. We take this life for granted by thinking about every little thing that we lack, things that are not here, things that we can't see. We also spend a lot of time in the future, things that have potential, things that could be. All of this is extra noise and distraction taken away from what's here in the now, which is you and your ability to make something happen, right? Oftentimes, though, with grief, we usually grieve things before the day has even arrived. When we get a new pet, we're thinking about, oh, how many years does it have? We're thinking already about it's the time it's going to pass on to another life. And this entirely changes how we view, how we behave and interact with this animal. Because now we are like, we're trying to protect it from a natural cycle that everything and everyone goes through at some point in time. And so while we are pondering and while we preach, we love life, we want eternal life, we come here and we're only thinking about the afterlife, really thinking about death. This is counterintuitive, and it does create more nervousness, more anxiousness, more restlessness. We aren't able to fully embrace our authenticity if we're constantly thinking about what could be and what has been. Now, I'm not saying you completely disregard them, because these two things have their rightful time and places to use them, but we're not utilizing them in a way that's going to help us eliminate the issue. And the issue at hand is the fact that we as a human species are still confused about what life is. And also, how to calm down, how to inhabit life, basically. Because here's the thing, we ask the questions, what is life? And yet we live our day to day as if it's running out. Life has shown us time and time again that it is never going to dissipate at all. Like the earth itself, it would have been destroyed tons of years ago if that was the case, but it hasn't. So life is already, like, the earth has already shown you that it's inhabitable. And yet we as humans choose to look the other direction. Now, of course, there's a lot of factors that go into that. like, what's going on societally, economically, things of that nature. And that's one of the reasons why you'll see and hear all the time, especially now, to eliminate distraction. Stop feeding yourself narratives from the news, things that are constantly giving you that reinforcement that, hey, something is ending, someone has ended, a life has ended, or um, maybe something shut down, whatever it is. Those things feed you, your subconscious mind, that, oh, I'm running out of time, things have to get done now, like, but that's not at all what's happening. Okay, so what happens when you are constantly thinking about, you know, you're thinking about the afterlife, passing on, or things that have passed on, is you're not able to inhabit life. And when I say inhabit life, I mean you as a person, as a human being, is a life form. You're a form of life. And your authenticity is rooted in how much you can embrace life itself, yourself, and also the life around you. So if you're constantly focused on things that are going to bring you decay, grief, sadness, depression, which come from the hyperfixation on what has already been here, grief, and also expecting that to happen simultaneously, and at the various at another level, um, contemplating on the future, maybe how it will happen, or what will happen, what can happen, possibility. This causes grave confusion for the life that you inhabit, which is you and your body. How your body inhabits life, how you move throughout life, is how your nervous system reacts to life. Your nervous system is actually just a reflection of how you feel in your body. If you feel uncomfortable in your body, your nervous system is going to reflect that. Why would it be calm when everything I just laid out has nothing to do with calmness? Everything I just said about the past, people living in the past, also expecting death to come in the future, and all these things, that's not life. That's confusion. And confusion is not inhabitable, but it can have these effects where we see now, human health decline that's real. That's happening now. But we ask why it happens, even though we have a hyperfixation on health in general. It's because of that foundation I just laid out. A lot of us are confused, and a lot of us are also just too hyperfixated on things that have nothing to do with us right now. If you want to think about it, history is a reflection. History can be used to understand things, understand life now. Not necessarily death, but life now. And maybe how life has once was. What if you look at history, you can understand how a way of life was in the past. You can get your answers just by looking in history. Not at the events, but the way of life, the people who lived in a certain way. Let's take, for example, the Native Americans. They were not obsessing over death. We can go even further back. We can talk about the Greeks and the Romans. Well, let's just talk about the Athenians. The Athenians, they followed nature, right? And we'll see a lot of countries in Europe still live by the seasons of nature, meaning, for example, in Germany and places like Norway, they, as a people, they live a slow life and they take every step one day at a time. They're not focused on outcomes. They're not focused on even the past. They're really centered in themselves. And themselves is really a divine connection with nature, with life. Nature is life. So they rule themselves based on life itself, Mother Earth. And so in the summer, they are preparing for the winter. So they're staying busy by, okay, I know this winter season is coming up. I know it's going to be cold, so I need to chop down wood and gather as much wood as I can. I need to do certain things so I can make sure that my winter, I'm warm and I'm provided for that season. So they're not thinking about what happened here, who did this, what did, like, they're that's not. And I'm not necessarily saying you have to live a very slow life like that either. That if you're living in America, that's just not going to be possible. But what I can say is that we can utilize these little bits and crannies, these little bits of how life should be lived, like these little keys, little gems stemming from people today that live life like this today. And also you can just use reference history and how life was lived before and implement it in some parts of your day today. There's going to be some time where you're feeling bored. That boredom is actually not a time for a space for you to fill in, but rather this is a time that you can be taking to slow down, to make sure that you are aligned with yourself or with nature, however it is that it aligns with you. But the point is, give yourself the opportunity to live life. Give yourself the opportunity to inhabit life as life itself. Okay? So I just had to say that. And I want to wrap it up with this. You don't need to fear the unknown. The only things that the things that we know are true and have been stayed are the things that have stayed consistent in history and over time. Number one, Earth's resources are not scarce. We haven't run out of water. We haven't run out of land. We haven't run out of anything. The Earth takes natural cycles, and so do the stars. So we can relax in the knowing that life is abundant and you can receive such abundance so long as you learn to inhabit life itself. Okay? That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. I will catch you guys next time.